minutes to prepare our next speaker. And meanwhile, please be informed that for 1:30 p.m., Pavlo Sheremeta, the Minister for Economic Development and Trade, will join the speakers to speak on the economic reforms. Пані і панове, поки зараз сюди виходить наш наступний бриф, доповідач, прошу прийняти до уваги, що о 1:30 до групи спікерів, які будуть говорити про стратегію реформ, долучиться пан Павло Шеремета, міністр економічного розвитку і торгівлі. Dear colleagues, I invite here our next speaker, the Colonel Andriy Lysenko, Ukrainian National Security and Defense Council Information Center spokesman. Шановні пані і панове, запрошую нашого наступного спікера, полковник Андрій Лисенко, речник інформаційно-аналітичного центру РНБО. Прошу.
Доброго дня, шановні колеги. Зараз щодо ситуації в зоні антитерористичної операції і з приводу літака. Протягом останньої доби в Шахтарському районі Донецької області на місці падіння літака Boeing 777 малайзійської авіалінії продовжувалися пошуково-рятувальні роботи. Станом на 8 годину ранку підрозділи Державної служби з надзвичайних ситуацій знайшли тіла 272 загиблих та 66 фрагментів. Українські рятувальники доставили та завантажили тіла у надані українським урядом вагони-рефрижератори Укрзалізниці на станції Торез, які планується відправити до Харкова. Сьогодні ж група міжнародних експертів розпочала роботу з вивчення обставин трагедії літака малайзійських авіаліній. Влада України робить все для максимального сприяння їх роботі. Президент України Петро Порошенко розпорядився надати у розпорядження міжнародних експертів президентський літак, і зранку в понеділок 14 спеціалістів прибули до Харкова. Це дозволило їм без зволікань приступити до роботи. Також до Харкова вилетів спецлітак від Королівства Нідерланди з гуманітарною місією. На борту літака спеціальне обладнання та труни і 7 відповідних експертів. Експерти розглянули та обговорили фотоматеріали, які були надіслані електронною поштою. За результатами аналізу комісії було рекомендовано звернути увагу на конкретні деталі літака, виконати панорамне фотографування окремих частин повітряного судна. Фахівці, які працюють на місці події, у першій половині дня детально оглянули та задокументували уламки центроплана. Пізніше робота комісії була зосереджена на уламках кабіни пілотів. В той же час на місці трагедії озброєні терористи продовжують перешкоджати роботі рятувальників і вивезенню тіл загиблих. Наразі навколо місця катастрофи обстежено площу близько 120 квадратних кілометрів. До пошуково-рятувальних робіт у зоні катастрофи літака та спеціальних робіт у Києві залучено 810 фахівців та 35 одиниць техніки. Терористи викрадають знайдені особисті документи пасажирів та членів екіпажу під час пошуково-рятувальних робіт. Зокрема, російські найманці викрали всю дипломатичну пошту, яку перевозив цей рейс. Після того, як українська сторона оприлюднила докази причетності проросійських бойовиків до збиття малайзійського літака, у світі спостерігається консолідація позицій іноземних держав, які жорстко засуджують російську підтримку терористів на сході України. Такі дії Російської Федерації призводять до трагічних наслідків, у тому числі для громадян інших країн. При цьому США, Велика Британія, Німеччина, Франція, Австралія рішуче закликають Росію припинити підтримку терористів і вимагають від Кремля закрити державний кордон з Україною. В іншому випадку вони обіцяють ввести більш дієві санкції стосовно Російської Федерації. Щодо подій в зоні конфлікту. Незважаючи на заклики міжнародної спільноти, Росія продовжує постачати терористам озброєння та важку техніку. Тактика російських диверсантів полягає в наступному. Спочатку терористи відкривають демонстративний вогонь по безлюдних територіях Росії з України. У відповідь російські військові завдають масованого обстрілу по позиціям українських військових. Під прикриттям щільного артилерійського вогню на території України проходять колони важкої техніки та найманців. Так учора з російського села Блішакова через прикордонний пункт із Варіно-Луганської області колона важкої техніки російських диверсантів спробувала прорватися на територію України. Колону обстріляла українська артилерія, проте кільком танкам та вантажівкам вдалося перетнути кордон і потрапити на територію України. Протягом вчорашньої доби та у даний час підрозділи Національної гвардії та Збройних сил України проводять операцію з блокування стратегічно важливого транспортного вузла міста Рубіжне. Таким чином, українські військові перекривають терористам шляхи постачання зброї та техніки з Росії. Незважаючи на трагедію з малайзійським літаком та сьогоднішню заяву президента Росії Володимира Путіна про плани відновити мир, терористи продовжують вести активні бойові дії на сході України. Так, за минулу добу озброєні російські найманці обстріляли блокпости та позиції підрозділів Збройних сил України в районах населених пунктів Дмитрівка, Маринівка, Кодима, Новокалинова, Солодке, Красна Гора, Червонопартизанськ, Олександрівка, Ільєнко, Предтечно та Луганськ. Також вчора відбувся бій в районі населеного пункту Червонопартизанськ Луганської області. Терористи не змогли прорватися та відступили. Втрат серед прикордонників немає. Завдяки професійним діям українських військових під час бойових зіткнень в районах Лисичанська, Рубіжного, Сєвєродонецька та в передмістях Луганська терористи зазнали великих втрат. Зокрема, члени незаконних збройних формувань у паніці спробували прорватися з оточеного Лисичанська колоною техніки, подібно до того, як це було під Слов'янськом. Проте бандити потрапили у вогневий мішок, створений підрозділами Збройних сил України. Як результат, 3 одиниці техніки терористів згоріли на місці бою. Рештки терористів розбіглися та повернулися до заблокованого міста. Окрім того, українські військові захопили в полон 35
were burnt at the moment, and besides, Ukrainians were able to capture as prisoners several mercenaries, some of them who are from the Caucasus. The bandits are resisting fiercely to the Ukrainian armed forces, and they are firing at residential houses in Luhansk, which causes deaths among peaceful residents. The zone of control around the airport of Donetsk is broadening, and in general the anti-terrorist forces are holding initiative. Russia is still amassing troops at the border of Ukraine. The echelon of armored vehicles from Russia, almost 100 pieces, arrived at the railway station Likhaya in Rostov region, and then they moved to Novoshakhtinsk. In the next to the village of Strelkovo in Kherson region, we see the increase of Russian forces, and the Russians are mining the Ukrainian waters in the Sea of Azov, and this mining operation is covered by 2 Russian missile ships. One of the Ukrainian National Guard's units was deblocked, which was blocked for 2 months and attacked by the terrorists. However, the National Guards did not surrender, and they kept the object, the control of the object. The terrorists are destroying civil objects in, for instance, Krasnodon. Almost 30 Russian terrorists have seized the electrical substation and the distribution point of the electric station, and same happened in Vuhlegirsk of the Donetsk region. This causes the threat to energy delivery in this region. Between Voivodivka and Severodonetsk, Russian agents have mined the bridges leading to Makiyivka and also the dam of Mironivka water reservoir in Donetsk region, which poses a threat to the water supply system. The terrorists continue to kidnap people, including foreigners. Russian mercenaries in Donetsk region by the city of Perevalsk captured a citizen of Sweden and are keeping him captive. We want to thank residents of Donetsk and Luhansk region who help Ukrainian military to free the hostages, and the information from local residents helps the anti-terrorist forces to establish coordinates and destroy the mercenaries and gunmen, and also to discover those who try to remain at the liberated territories under the cover of peaceful resistance. If you have an opportunity to publish materials that testify to the crimes of terrorists on the internet, also those photos where we see the faces of those terrorists, let's try to make it so that not a single terrorist escapes responsibility.
You told us about 35 Russian infiltrators from Caucasus that you arrested them. Will you provide evidence that they were arrested and they committed crimes? Will you provide that information to Russian Federation? Also, there is information that they can be, instead of Nadia, they can be traded for Nadia Savchenko, who was arrested and who is in Russian Federation. Among 35 arrested gunmen, there are people from Caucasus, and mostly all of them are citizens of Russian Federation. As to the trade, those who are arrested, and the special sources are working with them. The issue of exchanging captives, that's in their competence. And for many times I mentioned that the issue of captivity is a very delicate one, and we should not give information about that. Let's wait until we return our people back. Brief us about the situation in Donetsk, and there are some explosions near the train station. Now, in many directions, including to Donetsk, we unblock approaches to the city, and we destroy checkpoints of terrorists. And if there are explosions in the city, it means it's not Ukrainian military men are involved, because there is the order that airstrikes and heavy artillery strikes, we don't use that in the city. Terrorists are doing that, and they provoke. They say that Ukrainian military men are doing that. So if something is happening in the city, that's our forces are involved only around the city. So we're trying to unblock. We're trying to take under the control roads that lead to the city. Battles in Donetsk and Lugansk. There are some groups of people, of residents of the city, who fight against terrorists. Maybe that is the reason. Thank you. And tell us, please, are there losses among Ukrainian military men during the last day? How many casualties do we have? Are there some other towns which were liberated from terrorists? Because there was information that many of the towns were liberated, but people, locals, say that they don't see Ukrainian military men there. Two military men, Ukrainian military men, died during the last day, and I cannot inform you about wounded. As to liberated towns, where we have, around which we have tough battles, it means that we surrounded them, and we have positional battles. As soon as a town is free from terrorists, they raise a Ukrainian flag. And also engineers and miners will work there, because when terrorists leave cities, they leave a lot of mines around. That's very dangerous, and especially for civilians. So as soon as we have information about liberated cities, we will inform you about that. What are the most difficult places there? Where do you have the most difficult battles, the biggest battles? The most difficult battles are around Mar'їнівка, Червона Заря, Tarany. There is a Savur grave there. That's where gunmen are trying through those towns to receive assistance from Russian Federation. They are also covered by Russian artillery, and Russia supplies heavy equipment and ammunition to gunmen, From the north of Luhansk, there are big battles there. The main task now is to cut off this pot from near Matalist, Sukova Balka. There are battles there, because if we cut them off here, they have only one thing they will have to give up. And in the suburbs of Donetsk, our military men succeeded to capture the main roads to Donetsk from the site of Donetsk airport. That is a strategically important site for us. And in addition to advancement, and work on strengthening our positions, 5 points, and that will allow us to pull up the rest of the forces, and then to continue advancement. So step by step, they come closer to the main points that are very important for terrorists. Thank you. There is information that the second military man died in Rostov region. Ukrainian military man died in Rostov in a hospital. Do you have information how many Ukrainian military men are in Russia now? There were 17 military men. One died next morning because he was heavily wounded. As to the death, we don't have information, but they are still there. There is information that the second one died in the morning today. I will have to clarify that. Today there was a meeting near your office, and demonstrators require to dismiss Mr. Gnatov, who was participated in anti-Maidan attacks. Also, there are parents demand rotation. So what's the situation there? Will there be assistance to those who should be rotated? I am authorized to give information about ATO and also about MH17 crash. All the rest of the information can be given by the leadership of Security and Defense Council. As to Brigade 71 and their mothers, we have information. We spoke to the mothers. They were told that the guys in that brigade and also in other brigades, and their life is very difficult because our enemy is well armed and very severe. But our brigades will be provided better, and they speak to their parents through mobile communication. But mobile communication and with that equipment terrorists have, it is very easy to tap their conversation, and then they identify the sites from which they call, and then they shoot. So we asked the parents not to make such calls, because the more they call their parents, the more dangerous it is for the guys. And we're trying to explain that to them, and we hope that they will understand.
The situation in Donetsk, your operation that's ongoing there, is it part of an ongoing operation that you have described as moving step by step towards retaking the terrorist held positions, or has there been an escalation in your operations or new operations launched this morning? Thank you.
Thank you for question.
I cannot give you plans. We cannot make plans public. Plans we have to liberate our towns and cities. This is just an elementary issue of security. I hope you understand. We need to save lives of our military men. They organize this advancement. So I beg your pardon, I cannot give you information now. But yes, step by step, Ukrainian military men liberate territories which are temporarily under the control of gunmen. During the last month and a half, we succeeded. This territory was much bigger. 2.5 times was bigger. So terrorists have less and less of people, less and less of territory under their control. And the less they want to continue this war. The situation in Donetsk. Can it have an effect on transporting bodies from Taraz? Is it related to the railroad? And you told that there are some experts in Kharkiv, and also there are experts on the crash site. Are they from different countries? Is it from the same group, or? In Donetsk, the situation in Donetsk will have no influence on what is happening in Taraz. In Taraz, we have no military operation because there are international experts and observers there. They're trying to send loaded train cars with and bodies and remains. They will try to ship that from the Ukraine government does everything to ship those bodies and to identify them. There are two special commissions. One is responsible for identification of remains of passengers of MH17, and the second special commission of foreign professionals. They run an investigation of this crime. The main headquarters is in Kharkiv. They have a special lab there, and there are professionals who will help to logistically. So it's important for us to collect all the evidence. Terrorists don't allow the train, refrigerated train, to leave Taraz. If we start a battle there, then everything will be destroyed. So we want families to receive bodies of their beloved, and we'll do everything possible to deliver the train to Kharkiv from Tereza. We sent two trains with refrigerators, and also we have a logistics center.
According to your assessment of a situation, from a military point of view, do you think that after the MH17 incident crash, there is a deterioration in the capacity of the military capacity and fighting capacity of the separatists, or the situation is as ever before?
Thank you for question.
After the tragedy with Boeing 777, no night, no day, Russia did not stop its efforts to supply gunmen with heavy weapons and equipment. Russia did not stop for a minute. Despite this huge tragedy with MH17, Russia is providing supplies, and they supply equipment, military equipment and weapons. And we don't know exactly what they have now, but they don't stop their efforts to supply very sophisticated weapons to gunmen. They don't stop, not during the day, not during the night.
Can you please clarify your answer to a previous question? You said there would be no military action in Terez, where the train is. Can you also clarify, can the Ukrainian government guarantee no military action along the route that the train must take in order to get to Kharkiv?
Thank you for questions.
The Ukrainian power is doing everything possible for the international experts and families of the dead receive everything that's possible from the site of the tragedy. Experts are being provided, transportation is being provided, and special equipment. There's no military action there. There is a zone that shall be maximally open for the international experts to have 100% access to those remnants that are on the ground. And we do not have plans to conduct a combat operation there. All the conditions have been created for the work of international experts, but we do have information that terrorists are hindering them from the work. Can you comment on the situation on Russian forces on the border of Ukraine? You've said that there are 100 more pieces of heavy machinery, heavy vehicles. Every day we also see the increase on the territory of the Russian Federation along the state border of Ukraine of military vehicles and units. This night, as I said, almost 100 pieces of heavy machinery arrived to Rostov region. So we think that the Russian side does not consider the issue of de-escalation at all. Vice versa, there's a escalation of the situation around the border. Is the information true about the fact of capturing as a prisoner Alexander Khodorkovsky, one of the leaders of Alpha unit previously? We do not reveal information on whom the Ukrainian forces hold prisoners, because we work with them and they are given their testimony. As soon as we finish this work, we will be ready to publish the list of those whom we hold prisoner. Could you please be more precise about the Donetsk airport? There was a situation about the corridor to take away the wounded, and there were soldiers who died. There was a difficult situation, so how did you help them? Due to our offensive, the Ukrainian military managed to deblock Donetsk airport that for a long time was under constant shelling from pro-Russian terrorists, and there was an opportunity to take away both wounded and dead. However, the attempts to shell the airport did not stop. They are going on. Any other questions? According to your data, where is the biggest concentration of militants on the territory of Donetsk and Luhansk regions? On the territory of Luhansk and Donetsk regions. The remnants, they are there and they are being worked with. As soon as we do everything, we will tell you everything. Yes, it is desirable. We will do this. Any other questions, please? Is that all? The last question. Who wants the last? Yes. Thank you, everyone.